Big breaking TV.
Good evening, campers, dreamers, and babysitters. And yes, we are back with another episode of Primetime Terrors. And it's been a long road. It's been a journey. This has been a great series so far, but we have finally reached the final episode of The Last of Us. And you would think after 9 episodes that I would do my due diligence and know what the episode title is. But I didn't do that again. Keeping up with tradition, it'll be in the thumbnail for you.
I think it's Look for the Light.
Look for the light. That makes sense. That's a Firefly saying. Point is, yes, we've reached this. I know we're going to have a video kind of talking about the series as a whole, so we're not going to sit here and get all nostalgic and talk about everything. We'll just keep it centric to the season finale. And, honestly, I want to start off with a negative. I think that this is fair. I don't know. Luke and I have not discussed anything yet. We just literally finished it and hopped on. But, we've been so positive about this show. I think it's only fair that I throw something out there that I was a bit disappointed by. And that was booting up the episode and seeing that this was 45 minutes. Considering the first episode was, an hour and a half?
Yeah.
And then this was 45 minutes. I mean, granted, I think it was still a great episode. I think it ended great. Like it's on par with the video game as far as how everything went, other than a specific sequence, which we'll get into. But I was still a bit like, oh, you couldn't even get me to an hour just to really give us some more time with our characters and everything. But nonetheless, Luke, that's my only real gripe with the episode. So I want to know, how'd you feel about episode 9 of The Last of Us?
Oh, man, you threw me a curveball there. Usually you kick it right to me, and I had loaded up here. I thought you were going to ask me how I felt about it.
After 8 episodes, you got to change the funk up a little bit,
Oh, man, you do not do it on the very last episode. You got to stay the course, my friend. But my initial thought was going to be abrupt for this one. Not a bad episode. I think they covered a decent amount of ground here. But where they went with it, I thought maybe the scenes could have been drawn out more, especially in the hospital. I felt like that kind of almost was deduced to just almost a little bit more than a montage of him taking out all these fireflies. And I thought maybe we would get an actual kind of building of tension rather than Joel just kind of going through the hospital and mowing down all the fireflies. I mean, I love the brutality that was kind of displayed there, but I just thought maybe we would get a little more with that. That was probably my biggest issue with it, was just it seemed like they kind of, I don't know, it felt like maybe a little bit that they were trying to get to the finish line, where you work so hard and you're like, we just got to get it done. And it didn't feel like a bad quality episode. It just felt very rushed.
No, I get that. And that is honestly such a tough thing to translate, being on the side of the video game, because that is all gameplay. That is all action. You do actually fight your way through the hospital to get to that climax there. And there really isn't a lot there that they could, I guess, translate well. I mean, they could have had it be I would have maybe shot it True Detective style. That one episode with the Oner where they're just moving through stuff and done it like that. But I mean, I think that overall they went for more of an emotional punch, less of a, we're going to be visceral and there's going to be some action here, because they really slowed it down and they showed you just the kind of like Joel was just shut off. He was just, I'm going to kill everybody and eviscerate everybody. He's not playing around. And, I thought that was definitely ballsy and different than the way I play. I went full John Rambo and fucked everybody up real bad. So, it's that's how I play through it. But, it's one of those things where the emotional beats that were important to me as a video game fan, as a Last of Us fan, I think paid off in a really big way to where I was able to forgive that a little bit. But I completely understand that criticism, because it's one of those things where I guess with me having the reference of playing that sequence, I may have felt a little bit different to it, because I think that if you aren't as well versed with the game, that does just feel like a glorified montage sequence.
Yeah, and that's where it's like you saying, it makes sense that it's gameplay, it's a lot of just going to the hospital shooting people, but I feel like that kind of gives you that room to play almost from a writing perspective to kind of be like, okay, so we have a big chunk here that is just gameplay, kind of him going through the hospital shooting people. So maybe we limit the amount of fireflies in the hospital. We build some tension. And Joel may get shot. I don't know where you want to go with it. I know we're just kind of coming off a big injury for him, but kind of just building a little bit of tension of him trying to get to Ellie. It just felt like um, just he was so overpowering toward the fireflies, where there was no real threat there. And I thought maybe we could have built a little bit of extra tension, especially considering this episode was so short, where you could have maybe added, I don't know, 10 minutes of just kind of him
Hmm.
to the hospital a little bit. That was kind of the thing that stuck with me a little. But like the going back to the opening of this, I loved the kind
Oh,
of growth
absolutely.
of the relationship between Ellie and Joel, and him kind of, you can feel that he's way more comfortable with Ellie, and I just love that side of Joel
He
because we didn't
shares a
really
lot
get it.
more.
And it was almost like she was a little more shut off, and it was like, oh, this is an interesting dynamic I felt. So I kind of love this Joel that's really opening up toward Ellie and kind of being, and wanting to hear her puns and stuff like that. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, and then so the real big piece for me, I'd say the highlight of the episode was, again, something that was not in the games was the opening to the episode, with Anna, which is Ellie's mother. She's only ever, I think, been hinted towards in the games, but never, I don't even think, given a name, from what I remember. But yeah, no, seeing Ellie's birth and just what she went through, and giving us a little bit more of a deeper explanation for why Ellie is, immune to the virus and everything, is so awesome. Like, I just thought it was a really strong way to do it.
So do they never explain exactly why she's immune in the video game?
They do explain it the same way they did in the show,
They just don't show
but
it
they
like
just
that.
don't show it like that. They don't
Okay.
show how her mother was bit moments before her birth and everything, which cut the, like, once you cut the umbilical cord. Because even Haley, my wife, was watching it with me, and she said, "You got to cut the umbilical cord right now." And I was just like, "Oh, is it really that fast?" Like, I thought that was okay. And she's like, "Oh no, it's because she got bit. Like, they transfer like nutrients and everything so quickly." And I'm just like, "Oh, that's right, blood and all that." So it's like, yeah, you got to cut it. So I was kind of, I got to give the writers big props on that for, bringing that out. And I think that that's another um positive to having people who worked on the video game work on the show, like Neil Druckmann, because that there was room to flush stuff out like that. And
Yeah.
I thought it was a really intense scene. Ashley Johnson, she does the voice of Ellie in the video games. She was just fantastic here. I really thought that her, and then basically everybody who has shown up from the games, like Marlene and uh, Troy Baker, all of them great. Like, everybody did just a great job in the show overall. So Ashley was definitely a nice addition, and I was happy to see her.
Yeah. Not playing the video games, for me, it would be hard to imagine, that storytelling perspective without the visual storytelling that we got from the very beginning of this episode, just because it is so strong. And it's something that, when we go back to, our kind of retrospective of the entire season here, I think this is one of the best scenes probably in the whole 9 episodes of her kind of running. And I kind of suspected where this was going, as she was, locked in there. And I thought maybe she was going to get bit or scratched or something. And that's where we were going to lead to the Ellie thing. But I think it was a great unveiling. I think the tension was perfect. And we find out Ellie's basically Blade.
Yeah, Blade, right? There you go. I mean, she's a badass, dude. So, like, just wait till season 2. They've already confirmed that they're going to follow up with the story in part 2. And yeah, Ellie is not somebody to fuck with. I will tell you that. But yeah, no, it's a very solid episode. I think it's a solid ending. I know it's going to be abrupt for some people, but it does follow the same routine of the game. I promise you, if you were on the fence or if you are upset at all, and Luke, I don't know how you feel about the abruptness of the ending, truly, but go ahead. Actually, tell me real quick before I.
I actually like the ending. For
Okay,
me, the abruptness more so of the hospital scenes,
and just how quick it was.
yeah, was something that was more so odd to me. But I love the ending because it was just like, it leaves you wondering. And I think right at that time right there, I feel like, Ellie can read between the lines and know that Joel's not necessarily being 100% earnest with her. So I think, I think that
Mhm.
dynamic between the two is going to change, especially in season 2 when we open up, of knowing that maybe she knows that she can't fully trust Joel, and she wants to trust Joel, but and he thinks he's doing what's best for her, but at the
Mhm.
end of the day, he's not being 100% truthful to her. So I love the ending there because it's making me question what that relationship's going to look like in season 2.
Yeah, it's very strong. As I've said from the beginning, I love part two, so I'm excited for you guys to see that. I will say that I think anybody who is like what I was getting into is on the fence about the season finale. I think that you will like this a lot more once season two starts and once we kind of get into what's going on, because um knowing what you know, if you've played part two, all of the dominoes are falling and all of the threads are being placed, and it's all right there. And they were very deliberate in some of their shots and what they lingered on and things to kind of dance around the points. And it was really nice to see. So I think that season two is going to be really bang up. I'm excited for it. Just unfortunate, we're probably going to have to wait like 2 years. So,
Yeah.
that's HBO for you. But anyway, Luke, you got any closing thoughts on the episode?
No, I think this episode definitely left us wanting more. I think we're always a little contentious with the shorter episodes where because we always do want more, so we kind of look at them always like, well, it left something to be desired. But I do like the way this ended. I love the way that it opened up. And just the camaraderie between Joel and Ellie, I think, progressed so much in this episode. It feels so much different than the last 8 episodes that we have seen. And I absolutely love it. So I can't wait for season 2. While short, I do think this was a really enjoyable episode.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. But alrighty, guys, that's going to wrap us up here for The Last of Us, episode 9. Yep, like we said at the top, we are going to have like a big wrap up video coming out later this week. We don't know officially what day. We have a lot of content coming to you guys this week, so it will be there. We'll just figure it out as we go along. And yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to just discuss the season as a whole, give our final thoughts, ratings, things like that, and all the good stuff. But otherwise, then, as usual, if you are just stumbling across this channel, please hit that subscribe button. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We got a lot of great content already up on the channel, like our Carnosaur 2 video, debuting a new series that we're doing called Splattercast Cinema,
A lot of
with
fun.
Alex from the Beyond the Void podcast. Lots of fun there, as well as a twofer this weekend. I did a review of 65, posted that earlier today, and Luke and I went out on Thursday and checked out, of course, Scream 6, and we have our spoiler-free review up for you guys right now. And tomorrow should be early in the morning. Our Scream spoiler conversation with Evan from Rockland Graves will be out. So definitely, if you've seen the movie and you're ready to talk spoilers, check that video out. We talk for a while.
A
So,
lot to say.
yeah, we have a lot to say. Lots, some good, some bad. It's all in the wrist, as they say. So, alrighty, guys. Well, other than that, that's going to wrap us up. So I'm Dylan Newell.
And I'm Luke Janesco.
And remember, stay scared.